Good morning, everyone. We are going to start, so please take a seat, and we have just a couple of minutes waiting for the last participants. You are very quiet. Hello, everybody. There is no favorable wind for the sailor who doesn't know where to go. With these words, the Roman philosopher Lucian Seneca just wanted to tell us that without a good orientation and without a clear goal, we may have also a good wind, but we don't have get the target. So I am Leonardo Parigi. I am an Italian journalist, and I'm very honored to be here to be the moderator of this event. So I really want to warmly thank Gianfranco Meggiorin and Matteo Kosulic, Navimeteo, and all the staff, all the family to be here. We are going to leave a very wide and deep event about the weather, about the innovation. So please, I want to ask to Matteo Kosulic, Vice President of Fratelli Kosulic, to take the stage, please.
I think we can start just showing a short video, promise very short, about activities that we do. Can we just... Okay, I promised this was the only part where we do a presentation of the company, so we were not going to talk about Fratelli Kosulic during this event. Let me first thank you for all of you for being here. Thank you to the authority being here. Thank you to our customer, precious customer. Thank you to our partners, which are very important for us, of course, and all of our colleagues. There are a lot of colleagues here in the room today. And a special thanks to the X-Weather team, Vaisala, which has helped us organizing this event, which is the first one of this size. I mean, the first one where Fratelli Kosulic is a part of the Navimeteo team. So it's something completely new for us. As I said, we are not going to talk about Fratelli Kosulic, but there is something I have to say. Why Fratelli Kosulic got involved. Fratelli Kosulic and Genesis, which is let's say the digital part of Fratelli Kosulic, got involved with weather forecasting. I mean, I'm going to say that later on, but there is a very important reason for that. It doesn't come from only a business idea, but comes from more deeper from our origin. I mean, after me, there will be the real interesting part of the event. So there will be the real genuine expert talking about real problem, real cases, giving you concrete answers to some of the problem that the weather that these changes is causing every day. I mean, we have a single word that we say that will bring us all together with one idea, and that is safety. Why safety? Because we care for people. We care for the people that are working with us. because we care for the operation that we do. I mean, it's every day we are involved in operation that are affected by the weather change. And of course, operation is business. But we start from the part of the safety. And when we talk about safety, just we go back to our origin and look at the kind of safety that those, I mean, the one with the white shirt is one of our grand, and don't ask me who he is. The first problem is safety for him. It was living with this crew. Just look at the crew around him, so you can imagine that it wasn't very easy for them. Then look at the kind of ship they were using and the kind of weather they were. And they don't have equipment. They don't have anything to. It was all in the end of a single man. Now, of course, the things are changed. I mean, the equipment are ameliorated, but still the problem of safety, because even the climate is changing, the weather is changing, and it's the impact that the weather is having on our activity is getting more and more strong. And this what bring us greater responsibility. I mean, we have to act. As I said, we are not meteorologists. I mean, we are Fratelli Cosolici. We do other things, but we know that to be 100% sure that you've done your maximum to let's say, build a way to work for your people safer, you have to think of all the things. I mean, we've got different sectors that are working around the shipping business. We do ship management, we do marine energy, we do catering, digital, and crew travel. But the latest two acquisitions that we have done are specific on safety. One is Gente di Mare. Gente di Mare is a training center, it's a marine training center. And of course, training, again, is one of the most important things when you talk about safety. The second one is Navimeteo, weather forecasting. So those were two parts of the puzzle that they may look a little bit far away from what is our attitude, but they are not. At the end, they are a real interesting and important pieces of, I would say, a 360 service that you have to offer to your owners or even to our internal ships. I mean, we do it both. We do it for our ships, but we do it for our customer as well. Then again, why Genesis? Genesis is the, let's say, the heart of the digital part of Fratelli Cosolici. Started as information technology, software development, but in the age we've acquired a different company. We acquired Comunico, which is business intelligence and project management. We acquired Argenton, which is connectivity and satellite services. We acquired Olive. We found Olive. I mean, it was a new company, which is communication creative, and this event has been organized by them, so thanks to them. And now, the last piece of the puzzle, as I say. Why? Because, I mean, on Fratelli Cosolici it is important for the safety. On Genesis Informatica is important because we share technology. I mean, we are specialized in technology. Navimeteo is specialized in technology as well, apart from the human knowledge. But the two companies together are presuming to get better solution out of the box. We are celebrating in the same time, almost with 1 year different. We are celebrating 170 years in 2027 for Fratelli Cosolici. We have celebrated 30 years for Genesis and 25 years for Navimeteo. So, and this is not, I mean, is not something we want to speak about as a celebration, but this means that the continuity, the understanding, it's very important for us. We like to do things not looking for the business of tomorrow, but looking for the business of next 10 years, 20 years. And I mean, being here for 170 years, it sounds good. Basically, that's all I wanted to say. As I said, the people that are coming after me will be the real important part of the meeting. Mine was only an introduction, but I want to thanks especially now Gianfranco Maggiorin, because when we met the first time, we were like talking different languages. I mean, I couldn't really understand what he was doing, but I mean, it took us, what, 1 year, Gianfranco, to get together. And now I wouldn't say we are in love because it sounds strange, but I mean, we really appreciate each other. And I think that this is making a big change in Navimeteo, is making a big change in Kosulic as well. We have already started cooperating with other departments of Fratelli Kosulic, and I think that the future of Navimeteo is going to be until I mean, Gianfranco will be with us, and the new generation will come, because I mean we are the same age, so we are due to be substituted in a certain number of, maybe 10, let's say 10 years. But I mean, especially in Navimeteo, we see a hell of a lot of young guy, and the value of these young guys is incredible. I was really astonished when I saw the way they cooperate, the way they work, the way they are attached to their own business. They are really person with the hearts on your company. So, and this is thanks to you. And I would also like to thank Matteo Venoso, which I don't know where he is. He's somewhere in the there in the end. I've already started thinking who will be my substitute in the digital part of the Fratelli Kosulic, and he is the man. That's the man on the end of the room. He is the man that will be. So, as I say, thanks again for being here. I'll appreciate you a lot. I thank you, even the people that are connected via live stream. I don't know how many you are outside there, but thanks. And let's go on with the important and interesting part of the of the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Matteo Kosulic. So 25 years of celebration for Navimeteo, and this is a very crucial focus point for this company. But we all know that with this cooperation with the Fratelli Kosulic Group will be also a wider and brighter future. So please let me introduce you the Vice President, Sales and Marketing of X-Weather and Vaisala, Teppo Kuisma. Please.
Pleasure, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, thank you for the invitation, and of course, Kosuli and Navimeteo crew, everybody, pleasure to be here today. I will show a video, but before of that, I have to thank you that I'm feeling actually, both from a company perspective, I'm feeling very young, because Vaisala is only 90 years old. The ones who work with weather forecasting and meteorology recognize Vaisala as being the backbone of the observations. You will find us working with every single meteorological agency in the world, and with 97% of world's airports. Every single flight that takes off in the world is secured by both our equipment and our data. Then there is an angle of, in maritime sector, weather has been always reasonably short term. And I will talk a little bit, I have some good news for all of you, and I unfortunately have some bad news as well. I'll start with the bad news, and I'll start with the bad news personally. Personally, I used to be a very good competitive race sailor. That is the bad news. I am not anymore. At certain point of the career, everybody in the race sailing needs to decide whether they are planning to keep up as long as they can, or then become a meteorologist. I became a meteorologist. And I became a meteorologist personally by joining Vaisala and Vaisala X-Weather, which is the machine learning and weather forecasting lightning data, global lightning data arm of Vaisala. Then there is the second wider reaching, broad bad news that we are facing as humans. As we operate around the world and as we observe what is happening in the world, the climate change is changing the environment where we are. Our long-term data and our long-term forecast and all the facts tell that we will see more storms and we will see gradually an increasing amount of severe weather risk that we need to deal with businesses around the world. And I say it as a bad news mainly as a human and as a father of three. I don't say it as a business opportunity. I don't think it is actually a business opportunity to anyone. Then we reach out to the good parts of the message. I worked with the deepest edge of the technology before the career that I started in weather business. And it is very clear to be seen that the advancements on the weather forecasting and technological capabilities of data and forecasting are roughly 2 times as quick as our approach at the moment for climate change. That means that every year you are seeing at the moment 2 to 3% better weather forecasting for one day ahead. Every single company, every single government organization in the world is working at that speed. And the speed of better weather forecasting is actually increasing. It used to be that we were able to do 1% better a year on year. Currently we're able to do 3 to 4%. And I am very optimistic on the fact that we will be reaching 4 to 5% enhancements in accuracy during the near term. And we're happy to be part of that. With that said, you will see something that we have done together later with the presentation of Marco from my team. And I'll leave you with the possibility that we bring into the table with the short video. Now we'll need to get the clicker that will make the magic happen. Here you go.
Animals to sense what we cannot. Before storms gather, before air thickens, before the wind even shifts, animals are already ahead. They don't wait, they move. Today, that same advantage is available to those who want to be the first. Moving before conditions demand it. Seizing opportunity while it's there to take. Acting while others haven't even noticed. Weather intelligence doesn't just predict storms. It predicts outcomes. X-Weather. Be the first to know.
Thank you. Glad to be here today.
And I want to, sorry, yeah, maybe it's better. I want you to thank Gianfranco because, well, my job is very particular. So I'm a journalist about shipping and maritime industry, but also Arctic. And Gianfranco warmly asked me to come here to tell you a kind of story. This story is about the Arctic, and I know that I am Italian, so it's very crazy to listen to me instead of a Finnish or a Danish one. But at the same time, I am the founder of Osservatorio Artico, which is the first Italian magazine about the Arctic. We are 25 contributors working on this project, and we work closely to the Italian institutions, public bodies, companies, especially from the territory, because we want to avoid the safari effect, when we talk about the Arctic. So it is important to talk about this kind of things because it's the last one part of the world which we don't know anything. We actually know a lot of things about Mars instead of the Arctic. Just the 21% of the Arctic seabed have been mapped. We don't know even the biodiversity, and we perfectly know that everything is changing. It's changing by the climate change, of course, and this is impacting a lot on what is going on from geopolitical and economical point of view. What we see now is just the outcome of a lot of change of the last 20 years. Until 2022, the cooperation in the area was great. It was called the Arctic exceptionalism. So everyone was talking to each other, and there was a very good share of data, a very good share of experiences and governance, especially. Even if we only have 5 coastal states in the Arctic, and because of centuries and thousands of years of nothing instead of nothing but the ice, nobody has wanted to regulate it. So one of the most fundamental differences between North Pole and South Pole is that on the North Pole we have a great big sea, which is now opening for the first time in history. On the other hand, at the South Pole, it's it's a land covered by the ice. The second one difference is that on the South Pole, we have an international treaty, which is now run instead of North Pole. No treaty, no governance, no international governance, except from the Arctic Council, which is not governing the security, the defense, and whatever. What we can see now on the left, the Arctic ice extent average of the last 20 years. It is reducing a lot. And basically, you know more than me, then more blue we have, less white we have. So basically, this is the focus point, because from this thing, everything is declining. From this one, we can see these 3 lines on this new sea. This is actually new. Nobody has been ever able to navigate it. But if the red one is the mythological Northwest Passage, very historical one, and maybe for some cruise ships is now possible to use it, this route, it's impossible to use it for the logistics, in example. Doesn't matter. The second one, the green one, will be the transpolar route. And we are not talking about something in the next centuries. We are just talking about in the next years, unfortunately, because the most common research tell us that probably before 2040, we will have an ice-free season in the summer, of course, and this could be an option. The blue one is already ongoing, which is the Northern Sea route. It's not something for the future. It's something which really exists nowadays. So there is a lot of different definitions from about the Arctic, but what is important to know to us is that the climate change, which is impacting to Italy, in example, in this case, it's even more and more complicated, because the climate change above the 66 parallel north is 3 to 4 times much higher instead of us. At the Svalbard Islands, during the latest summer, it's very common to reach also 32 degrees in the summer. So it seems like 70 degrees in Sicily. Okay. Just in a nutshell, so 5 coastal states, 8 Arctic states, actually. The same population of Rome, all above the Arctic, but we have a lot of problems. The first one, of course, is climate, but the second one is not just the melting ice sea, it's the permafrost. So the land is collapsing actually. And so the problem is not that the land is collapsing because of the buildings. The problem is that what is inside this land. The permafrost is something like the 25% of all the continents of this planet. So 1/4 of our land is freeze by 10,000 years. And now, in the last 20 years, is now melting. This is the problem, because that land is also a big capsule of methane. So this could be a problem, you know, when we talk about the climate change, but we need to see this sea. They are just original photographs of our being on board the Italian research program High North, which is now living the 10th edition this year. So every year there is a military ship coming from La Spezia, moving to Tromsø, and then embarking the scientific team to go around Svalbard Islands, Greenland, and the North Pole to map the seabed. This is very important, of course, for the safety of the navigation, because the navigation in this area, because of the logistics, because of also the hydrocarbons and the minerals and materials are growing a lot, something like 35% each year on the Northern Sea route especially. Svalbard Islands, where there is the only one international treaty which is now running. There are a specific place because there is no humans actually, instead of just until 100 years ago, but there is full of polar bears. Even if it's a wonderful place to go, now they are something like the focus point, exactly like on Greenland, of what is going on for the next years. What is very particular to see, to look at the Arctic from our perspective is that if I say history in Italy, everyone is just thinking about the Roman Empire and all the past of the past. Instead of the Arctic has just the future. There is no past. So this is particular because it depends on tourism, investments, business, shipping. Everything has to be built. There is have not been so investment like nowadays in Canada, in Norway especially, Finland, Sweden, but for the defense, for the navigation, for the tourism, there is a kind of wave we can't imagine. Last year in Juneau, Alaska, have been approached 1.6 million visitors from cruise ships. Juneau has the same inhabitants as Chiavari, 30,000 people. 1.6 million visitors. Svalbard Islands, no natural native population, 23,000 in visitors in 2019, 67,000 visitors 2 years ago. So the cruise ships are booming in this place. This is the Ship Alliance, and really warmly invite you to follow this program because it's very particular to see a country such as Italy so far away from the Arctic, but just focusing on this place, sharing the data, of course, because everything is just about scientific approach, scientific research about a lot of things, actually. But first of all, seabed mapping. There is this international project which is called Seabed 2030, and its goal is to have complete mapping of the whole seabed of the world in the next 4 years. Very difficult, but this is the project. And you can see what is going on actually. In this photograph 2 years ago, we were there on the ice, 3 degrees. It was July, yes, it was summer, but we were at 82 degrees north. This one, and what is very particular is also that when you're there, there is no sound. anything. So it is fundamental to have specific data and very precise nowcasting and forecasting, actually, because when you are there, there is nobody around you, and in case of everything, you are completely alone. Just the last few parts. So rare earth, we have been listening to this idea of the importance of Greenland, in example, and the importance of Greenland for the United States because of the rare earth. Yes, but the point is that we have to use the map. You know, if you take the map and you go north, you can understand why it's so important, Greenland, not just for the United States, but for everybody, not just for the rare earth, but because we are facing a complete new century of a new world, of a new sea. This is what we are, and I want to thank you. So, let's be back. We are perfectly in time, Gianfranco, so please let me introduce you the Master and Commander of Navimeteo, Gianfranco Meggiorin.
Thank you very much. This is a big present for myself, my team. Actually, I'm thinking to my team that is now not here but working to provide the weather service to the shipping companies. I know some very important shipping companies from United States, Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, the Coast Guard from UK. Thank you for the Coast Guard, Italian Coast Guard, MSSC. Then so many, I'm sorry to everyone I forget. We are really proud of this moment because Navimeteo is a big company, but now we can do a better job, especially on technology with the support of Genesis. I will speak about my personal experience. I started many years ago, and Navimeteo today provides services to shipping companies, cruise ships, yachts, tugboat, ports, marina. We are very busy, very, very busy. And what is going on now? Something is going to happen because there is more energy. The researcher, today we have also some researchers speaking after me, and the temperature is rising not only in the ocean but also in the Mediterranean Sea. This is a simple picture that is indicating the anomalies that we are observing in the Mediterranean. If the sea surface is higher, we have more energy. This is very simple, also for someone that is not so expert. And when the cold air arrives into the Mediterranean, especially in the warm season, there is a big energy. Big energy means strong phenomena. This is why this is a graph that the researchers they presented to me. Is how the temperature is rising in the Mediterranean. It's something very fast. And this is why, of course, we work together, as Matteo Coggi was saying, for safety. And we want to understand marine weather. But there is a big challenge, not to understand only marine weather offshore, but especially close to the coast, because operation close to the coast, maneuver, tendering operation, everything happened close to the coast is more difficult to understand because still the weather models, they are not so precise close to the coast. And sometimes critical conditions are observed also into the port. And today, especially in the cruise sector, and we have the giant ships, and when the wind is blowing under a gust of wind 140 kilometers during a thunderstorm, this is a big risk. Also staying into the port because the cables, they can break, and this could be a big problem. Then what we have observed during the last few years. Because I started in reality 35 years ago with the observatory in Portofino. It was the first private weather center in Italy, and my experience comes from the sea. And then what we learn, and we are learning, we are observing today, also stay at the anchor is a moment of navigation. Then before we were dropping the anchor and feeling safe. Today, there is something different. The weather is changing, and also we need to change our techniques, not only in meteorology, but also sometimes in navigation. Then we still need, and this is very important to say, we still need to be able to observe the weather. Sometimes mariners, they use the computer, they trust the computer so much, and they forget to check the indication, the tendency from the barometer on board. This is something that I always recommend. We do not have to forget traditional observation and understanding the clouds today more than yesterday, especially for this change of weather. And today we have all the instruments, but also digital instruments. Then it's easy. Between you, there are very expert on system and instruments. This is a very good friend for a mariner. We don't have to forget him. Yes, navigation and meteorology. It's two words together. Navimeteo come from there. And the system, they move across the ocean from west to east are all latitudes. And what we have to do is to learn our position, where we are in this system. Then being on board the blue vessel or the red vessel make a big difference. Then positioning, understanding our position in relation of the weather system is something that helps us to do a better navigation. I don't know, here? It's not moving hot. I can move from the computer, maybe. Yeah, I can go there. Then, thank you for this. Then there is a method. We need to change our method of understanding the weather. Then we have two ways to understand the weather. One is the horizon. Then we can see the clouds, we can see the waves, we can observe the wind, we can monitor the situation from on board. But we need to change also the method to understand the weather, seeing the weather from the sky into the lines, isobars, understanding what is the main flow of the wind blowing in the specific area. We need to use the weather information, but also to understand the weather information. This makes a big, big difference. This is, for example, the forecasting techniques. We use to do forecasting. We do forecasting every day. We have experts here on forecasting. But today, that's not enough, especially in the Mediterranean and in some other areas of the world. We need to integrate forecasting activity with nowcasting. What means nowcasting? Means that if we, in the forecasting, we understand that the southwesterly swell and the southwesterly winds will blow strong, as today in Chiavari, because it's like being on board a vessel today here. Have you seen the sea outside the window? Nowcasting activity means understanding that cumulonimbus, that possible thunderstorm, and the risk of heavy gust of wind that could be very dangerous for our operation into a port, during a maneuver, in a anchorage. And then if there is a risk of violent gust of wind, we have to be ready, and this is not in the Mediterranean culture. We have to be ready to go a few miles away from the coast, waiting for the phenomena to end, and then starting again the program on navigation. This is something that the manager, fleet manager from United States, they are connected with us. Thanks for coming. They know very well when there is a hurricane, the decision to go outside the port, and there is a technique that is sailing nowhere. Sailing nowhere is the only reason to go far away from the worst condition. The same approach today has to be applied also in the Mediterranean Sea. There is something important. Navimeteo is a private company. Why private company exists? Because without the official weather organization like NOAA in the United States, Met Office in the UK, thank you to the UK Coast Guard to attend this meeting remotely, thank you very much. There is a cooperation between the different countries for a system. This is a safety system for navigation, and all the weather office, they cooperated to provide services for the different area. Mediterranean area is Meteorologists 3. It's a simple forecast, a simple text, but able to say if there is or not a gale warning for that area. Today that we trust the computer so much, sometimes we forget to monitor this kind of information that is very crucial for any situation and very crucial for any claim, for example. We start from here. That forecast was indicating gale warning that day. This is Meteorologists 3. Then different areas, but you can see how well is covered the Mediterranean in the eastern part, western part, Gibraltar, everywhere. Then we never have to forget to respect and to use the official weather forecast. The private company, what they do, they could integrate this information with knowing who is using this information. We know who is the vessel, who is the master, who is the manager in charge of the fleet, and we try to facilitate and support the decision on board. This is the Italian zone. Then GMDSS, also using properly the GMDSS, because the gust of wind could be much stronger than expected as the sea state. This is clearly indicated in this slide. Mediterranean. We need to know very well the Mediterranean because there are many turbulence in the Mediterranean Sea. There are some areas that are really important, Gulf of Lion, Alboran Sea, and Otranto Channel. All the mariners, here we have so many mariners, they know the sea, the Mediterranean better than me, and they know there are crucial areas to be monitored. This is some of the Bonifacio Strait, for example, and Navimeteo is working to open a new observatory in the near future in Bonifacio Strait because, and thank you to everybody, real-time observation still remain fundamental to improve weather forecasting. I try to go faster, sorry if I'm going a bit longer. Then, how to detect thunderstorm. Lightning is one index. There are many others. But have a look today. A thunderstorm in the Mediterranean was able to generate gust of wind, crazy gust of wind. This is why also our culture has to be reacted to this kind of risk, going a few miles away is possible to be safer. But sometimes we trust our anchor and maybe we stay in that position. But today the weather is different. And the master here are stressed about this new situation because they understand the Mistral flow, Scirocco flow, southwesterly Libeccio flow, but heavy thunderstorms are difficult to predict and to understand. This is what happened a few miles away from Chiavari in 2018. This is the damage. It looked like a hurricane. Then the manager from Norwegian and from Royal Caribbean, they are connected. This seems a hurricane, but this is a Mediterranean storm. Then today we have the tools. Thank you to the cooperation we can improve. Cooperation also between shipping company is important because they can share data. With MSSC, we are receiving the data from the vessel. That's fantastic for us because we can compare real-time observation with forecasting. Thank you for your attention. And thank you for being here. And we need only to keep the route, doing better, learning day by day, and continue to do a better job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gianfranco, also because there is a lot of innovation, a lot of technology impacting this industry, and it's very important also to better understand what is going on actually. So the bigger are the ships, and the bigger is the need of safety and precise data, and innovation too. So to talk about what is going on for the cruise industry and how much is important to understand and to have a wider portfolio of opportunities, I want to ask to Paul Mitchell, Chief Meteorologist at MSC, Maritime Support Center, too, how is going on and what we need actually for the next future. Please.
I'll move that out of the way. I don't like to sit down. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon to you all. It's an absolute privilege to be here today. It's very unusual in terms of standing here in front of people and talking about the weather, because normally I'm the one who just talks about the weather. So it's great that everybody that's out there is interested in this moving forward. I don't know if if the clicker is quite working, so we'll see. Yes, we have. Okay, so what I'm going to do in the next 15, 20 minutes, can you hear? Okay, the closer the better. But I think you can hear. Can you hear me at the back? Okay, wonderful. We're going to look at some of the advancements that we've done. So we've heard a lot from Leonardo, from Gianfranco, about certain situations within us, and it's all affecting us. We can see that across the Mediterranean for now. A little bit about myself to start with. So what is a sort of chief meteorologist in terms of it? Well, I come from a 35-year background in the Royal Navy. So I joined the Navy as a meteorological observer. Gianfranco mentioned that about having those observations. Well, that's how I started. I started in the Navy doing that, working with the forecasters, providing those observational data to those forecasters. I very quickly went through the ranks, which was a privilege to do, and became the first officer from the lower ranks to become an officer forecaster as I went through. And so I basically joined the Met Office in the Royal Navy, right at the bottom of the ladder, became an observer, and then finished as the boss some 35 years later. So it was a great experience for me. I left the forces in 2023, and I went and joined, was headhunted by a very small company called BAE, and worked on a project there. A really exciting project, flying a high-altitude, persistent solar aircraft up into the stratosphere, out in the States. So a phenomenal project for a meteorologist, and I was very fortunate to do that. However, after a successful flight, and you'll see some pictures of that in my next slide, MSC came calling, and what better to go and work for the cruise industry after you've been in the Royal Navy for such a long time. It was a fantastic fit from maritime operations to actual delivery of meteorology, and we've grown that team and that sector after the latest 18 months, and I've had the privilege to work with Navimeteo and Vaisala and other providers as we have done so. So with this slide, it looks a little bit busy, but we'll start off down the bottom corner because it basically covers my career in the Navy. Like I said, I became a forecasting officer. Unfortunately, to my counterparts, because I came through the ranks, I had to become a deck officer as well. So that meant driving ships, which is a fantastic point as well for our maritime industry, because I can relate to the deck officers because I've been out there and done it with them before. So I started off on a ship down the bottom here, which is RFA Argus, and that's the aviation training ship for the Royal Navy. I spent 4 years, and that's basically where I tried my trade as it was as an officer of the watch on there. But I also qualified as a flight deck officer, landing helicopters and jets as well from my time there. Next saw my excitement of the frigate you see down to the into the centre part of the screen there. That's a Type 22 frigate. That's like driving a Porsche at sea. So it can do 38 knots and it can turn on a sixpence. So I was really privileged, but it's also armed to the teeth as well. So it's a great asset and a privilege to sail on her. I spent 2 years on her. After that, a capital ship came calling in the form of our aircraft carriers, which to you means not so much, because even though our aircraft carriers were 66,000 tons, which was massive in the English Navy, some of your cruise ships are across the border are 215,000. Amazing, sort of like for it. Spent 2 years driving her, and that's the famous Sea Harrier jump jet that you can see taking off from the ski ramp as well. My last ship that I drove was a deep ocean going, it's in the far right hand corner there, HMS Scott, which is a deep ocean going marine survey ship. So they used to survey all across the various different parts of the globe, primarily working in the Indian Ocean when I was on it through the winters, and then up the eastern seaboard through the summer months. So from Bermuda up through the East Coast, staying in New York for the 4th of July, which was always a bonus, and then up to Canada, across to Iceland and back into the UK, and did that cycle 2 times. So I was very fortunate on that. Now, obviously, being in the forces, you're going to see some action. For me, I saw, unfortunately, quite a lot of that, starting off with Bosnia to start with, Sierra Leone, and I was in the first Gulf War, flying in those Sea Kings that you see on the top right-hand corner there. Was an air crewman for that period of my time in the Navy. So from there, though, it's not just that. As a meteorologist, you'll still hit the front line. You come away from your nice comfort office back in the UK, and off you go to Afghanistan and also to Oman as well for my sins. So that shows my military side and the background of where I've been. But outside of that, BAE, which I mentioned, and we had that flying up to the edge of space with that stratospheric flight with the BAE company and the Phaser 35. That's it there on the right-hand side. So solar-powered activity taking us all the way up to the central part there to the edge of space, 66,500 feet. So it was a record for its own. Came back and landed back on Spaceport America. So it's out where Richard Branson flies Galactica from, and landed it on the center line. So success across the board from that. But my time from that, what we really need to be talking today is, which Gianfranco has kindly mentioned already, is about the severe weather we've had. And how things are changing across the Mediterranean. We'll start off on the right-hand side here. Cyclone Harry, which was a deep cyclogenesis, low-pressure formation, which absolutely smashed into the side of Sicily, bringing 10-meter waves into their side there, but also caused huge landslides as well in the local areas. Unfortunately, killing 380 people. So significant losses in there. The middle side there, we're looking at Valencia. Again, a tragic, heavy rainfall brought flash floodings into those areas. And unfortunately, we lost 230 people in that incident. Up to the top right-hand side is the wildfires in Greece. And that has affected not just Europe, globally across the board. The Americans, and I know some people here today have been touched by it. over in the States as well, and it's such a ravaging force to go through, taking many homes along the way. But in this case, this was in July 2023, and they lost over 30 people in these wildfires there. So that's what we're talking, and that's why we're talking about these weather events over here. Closer to home, though, we don't want to shy away from it. MSC, as a major sort of cruise company, we've had our fair share to us, but of incidents. And this one was a particular incident where I don't think anything could have been done at the particular time because we didn't have the warning systems. Again, Gianfranco mentioned this before, and a number of other people will mention it, I'm sure, as we go through today's discussions. But this situation happened in January 2024 with our MSC Sinfonia, which was alongside in Siracusa, to the east coast of Sicily, their port there, which some of you know very, very well, others won't. But she was actually laid up doing a maintenance period for the time there. And the background of it is basically the wind was blowing the ship onto the port. No real problems to her, 10, 15 knots. But she had no warning that a system was coming towards her in terms of a cold front, very active cold front coming towards her, and was embedded into that cold front was CB, our cumulus thunderous clouds that affect us and can give us a downdraft. Basically what happened is the wind picked up very, very quickly from the bow of the ship and pushed her backwards, snapping her lines as she was pushed backwards. And then within another 30 seconds to a minute, the winds veered round to a westerly component and basically just blew her off the berth. So, and those winds got up to 80 knots, as you can see there. That's the barograph. The wind trace that you can see there in directions. Very, very quickly took us and unfortunately blew us across, away from the berth and into a marina. Caused millions of pounds of damage. Fortunately, no one was injured or lost in that case. But what it did is it became a reality check to a number of cruise industries from it as well. It's not a good event for any of us across the trades, across the cruise industries, whether it's ourselves in MSC, Royal, who we've got online today with us, and Norwegian, or anybody who's out there. We need to protect and find different systems to be able to stop these events happening. And what we've done in MSC is try to mitigate against these, and we're going to look at those mitigations now and look at some of the systems that we've put in and what we're going to put in to take us forward. So, with our partners, Navimeteo and Vaisala, who are here today and are speaking throughout this presentation, we invented this system, created the system, of this new lightning system. This is across all of our ships now. We have it, and all across our GMV ferries that we have representation here today as well. Thank you for coming. But this was implemented as we go through, we'll see. To look on the left-hand side, you can see the ship's names and where the ships, if they have been affected at all, they'll be highlighted and they'll come to the top of that leaderboard to show that there's an issue there. And that's we can see that as we move across. Zooming in on the top right-hand corner, we could talk about it a little bit more in depth as we progress, but on the top right-hand corner, you can see the darker blue cells are the lightning strikes or the spherics that we have. So it's either be cloud to ground or cloud to cloud, and it shows up all around the world. So why do we do this? Because if we're capturing the convectivity in these spherics, we can see where these thundery storms are going to occur, and then prepare and warn against them. And that's the key principle behind it. The timeline for this, we started to protect our ports first. that's what we thought, okay, so we will protect the ports, and actually it's a system that's still enforced now by Vaisala, very much with a protect system which they use at the airports as well as the ports that were here. But we sometimes go from one port to another port in one day, so we needed more than that, so we needed to cover all those ports and move from one to another. By the time I joined the company through 2024, we came up with the idea, let's protect the vessel. So whether if she is anywhere globally in the world, we'll protect her. So we've put a geofence, 50 kilometres, 25 kilometres and 5 kilometres all around all our assets that are all over the world now. Same for GMV in terms of their ferries. What we did from that, so there's a basic alarm system. So as soon as any of those spherics hit that 50-kilometre range, we will then be alerted back to the Maritime Support Centre and back to the forecasters at Navimeteo or any of the providers that we've got with this system. So straight away, they're making an assessment then. The Navimeteo forecaster will be making that assessment, which they do constantly over a 24 period. And then they'll be in communications. The same with the Maritime Support Officer. As soon as that alarm goes off, and funny enough, it's a crackle of thunder, so they can hear it straight away. There's no missing it. And then they'll be doing their assessment as well. So between the two of them, they make their assessment, and then they're straight on the phone to the master. If not, the master may have already taken, because we monitor our ships 24/7, we may see an engine come on before we've even spoke to them. So the command team on the bridge have already decided that's what they're going to do. They're bringing on some more engines to protect them, to keep them alongside. So this asset, like we mentioned, came out at the end of 2024 and was delivered in January 2025 across the fleet. It's on a tablet, it's on there, it's on the master's phone, it's, it's all over to warn them anything that comes up. This is a zoomed in version of it, and you can see from the red up there that one of the ships, Seaside, is those Thunder cells, a mass of those. Any more than 5 of those triggers to us to say that's a supercell, and that's coming towards us. So you can see significant thundery activity around us. We've alarmed, we've already spoken to the ship, so they already know, so they've taken the precautions from it. The rainfall radar there as well, you can see. But you see very quickly, and this is typical. This is a typical situation in Florida where it's a perfect breeding ground for thunderstorms, but we have exactly the same here in the Mediterranean as well. Gianfranco mentioned it, sea surface temperature. We get sea surface temperatures going over 30 degrees now with a cold front or some type of instability coming into the Mediterranean. It's like a hot bath, bringing cold air into it. Boom, up we go. We have a massive CB development, and from those CB development, we get in our gust fronts and our potential, which we've seen the disasters in some of Gianfranco's photographs that we've seen earlier. Here was an example that we just pulled out, and we have these daily. This is a situation with one of our ships, Grandiosa. She was in Maisala. She was just in her critical turn, and those of you who have driven ships will know exactly what I'm talking about within it. The ship is in its critical turn, just about to come alongside. She's moving towards the berth. Her winds go from 3 to 5 knots, so variable light, suddenly to 30, 35 knots. I think we can go back there. To 35 knots there. Fortunately, we knew it was in the area. We'd already pre-warned her. She took 2 tugs. They were on standby. The tugs just moved in, pushed her alongside. No problem at all. The system operationally had worked again. Significant, and this is a daily event, so we have this every day. What are we going to talk about next? We're talking about and the projects that we're taking forward in terms of a network of ex-weather stations. What will these weather stations do? If you look over to your right-hand side over there, there's an example of one there for us. Again, working in collaboration with our partners and other collaborative cruise companies as well, we are looking to put these latest type of weather stations across the Mediterranean. We're starting with going up and down the coastline in Italy at the moment. We've currently got two, one in Chiavari and one in Civitavecchia, down to the Rome port, down there for other people that don't know where that is. And what this is actually integrating for us is bringing that AI technology to us. So we've got the latest technology. We've got Gianfranco's observation data being collected. So we've got that as a full. But more importantly, so the master, they can approach, they see exactly where the wind, where they're doing their critical maneuver is, and they can see exactly what the wind is going on in that area. And that's a key thing for that. So they can see it may be 35 knots outside the port, but it might only be 20. So they know exactly when to come in and when not to come in. So it's a significant improvement. When I mention the word AI, it's the buzzword of today. Everybody talks about it. But what this is doing for us in terms of it, it's giving us a trend. Down to the left-hand side there is the wind. We can see a trace going along there. And what it does, it takes, so if we come into a port at 6 o'clock in the morning, it will then take that wind and it feeds all that live data into the Vaisala model. That data then comes back to us and gives us a trend of what it's going to be like, a forecast of what those winds will be like, say, at 6 o'clock the following morning. Because it's taken that data, the live data, fed it into the model, and is giving us the most accurate way of doing that. Currently, from talking to the Vaisala team that presented to me back in London only a few weeks ago, we're about 30%, and I hope I'm not stealing too much of your thunder, about 30% more accurate than ECWMF modelling at the moment. So if we put these up and down and across in our most pertinent ports, we speak to the masters, it might be, again, across this collaboration that we will have with our partners as well, and cruise industry fellows, that we will find the worst ports, that the hardest for us to get into, we can put these weather stations in and give us a much better understanding of what the wind conditions, etc., are for delivery. The next one for us, MSC, big sponsor, Formula One. The Aponte family love Formula One, and we have our own private island out in the Bahamas. Mr. Vargo said to me, what can we do to match the Formula One radar precipitation so they know where at turn 8, how do they know it's at turn 8 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon that it's going to start raining? How do they know that? The company that does that is a company for the Formula One circuit team called Navimeteo Press. They're the mechanics behind it. They have these pop-up radars that you can see there in front of it, and that's what gives them that data. That data is then filled in. Mr. Vargo obviously would like that for our private island in terms of Ocean K. So it's so we're looking at that protective system to deliver that for MSC at our private island. But not only will it cover Ocean K, it will also cover, will go out to 500 kilometres with an early warning system from that. 300 kilometres is a higher resolution from that. And then the highest resolution data will be from around about 100 kilometres. So you can imagine from our island, which is roughly about 50 nautical miles to the east of Miami, that's going to cover a lot. And you'll see that in the next slide. But that's what my biggest project that I'm working on at the moment for delivery for Ocean K. Here's some of the mechanics behind it. You can see the big radar there. It's a 10-meter tower, so it's a significant radar. It's a C-band static radar, which is the latest technology that we've got out there. And what that does, again, we're going to jump into that AI-enabled favourite topic that we all talk about. But what that's really doing is it's saying to us, it's going to fill in any of the gaps. It's going to use the technology, so if we do have any wooding in a particular direction, it will fill that gaps in and the intensities for us in that area. So we will have it to the right-hand side there, just to the side, Ocean K in the middle there, and we can see how far that expands. So it's not just for Ocean K though, it's for the local areas, for the rest of the Bahamas. We work very closely with the Bahamian government as well, so we'll be able to protect Freeport, we'll be able to protect Nassau, and give them an early warnings on those sort of situations if we want to in terms of the community and delivery for them. That's pretty much what I've got. There's a barcode down the bottom for if you want to just to email any questions, but obviously I'll be around for the break. Happy to chat anything through from that. But thank you again for letting me present today. It's a real privilege, and like I said, it's usually me who's talking about the weather, so it's for everybody else that's here. Just thank you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Paul Mitchell. It was very interesting. So before the coffee break, I want to give you we have a high school moment. So please stand up and just follow my colleague for a big picture all together. And then we will have the coffee break. Please.
We take a big picture in the outside before it starts raining.
Yeah.
With the waves behind us, and after we can join the conference. Thank you. Directly.
No, vabbè, ma non è che lo devi fare né oggi né domani né la prossima settimana. Perché è una cosa molto bella. Sì, stiamo andiamo di sera, devono anche qui. 90 siamo. Sì, no. Sì, ma è una cosa bellissima.
Hello again, everybody. So, welcome to the second session of the event, the new weather character of the Mediterranean Sea. So, thank you again to be here, also for our remote audience. And please let me welcome Marco Torvinen, head of sales of Vaisala X-Weather and lightning detection. So, we were talking about lightning before the coffee break. And now we start again about these kind of things and how much the innovation is impacting this industry. Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Maybe Paul was telling a little bit about his background, and maybe I was saying that I'm graduated from theoretical philosophy, reading all the classics, Greek, Roman, and some are wondering that how I ended here, but that's a longer story. We could discuss that later. My name is Marko Torvinen. I'm coming from Vaisala X-Weather. I have two targets for this speech. One is to kind of tell you a little bit about the project, but not just kind of I don't want to give you a product presentation. So you could have a trial with us. You could call me. I could show you, and a lot of the functionalities is relatively kind of intuitive. I just want to give you a view that where we are going, because there are, forecast, nowcast, all of that, it's happening, it's getting improved, but there are other factors behind that are changing the whole industry and bringing the kind of new things. I believe that in 5-10 years, we might not anymore recognize forecast in a way that we see it today. Another topic I would like to kind of tell you about is this hyperlocal forecast. And there the message is that kind of there are forecasts and there are forecasts. There are cars. You could buy a Moscovich. It's a car. You could get to the shop. You could buy a Ferrari. But it, depending what you want to do, that if you want to go to race, I would go with Ferrari. Same is come to the weather data. So if you need the professional level data, you need to get one. And my key message is that you could have much better forecast. I will show you some figures from this Kiavari station, which is about 2 months ago. I picked just one month and just kind of how it compared to the general European best forecast equivalent. Okay, I skip one of those. Maybe one of the key ideas about when we develop our weather solution is that we just don't want to give a kind of forecast. We want to give insights. We want to give a foresight. We want to kind of bring this information in a format that is digestible and it's actionable and it provides the kind of view that what is going to happen. AI, we have done that for a long time. Meteorology was one of the first areas that AI was brought in. It's very natural. You have a lot of data. You have a lot of complex things which you could do the stochastic modeling, and it's kind of created for AI. But what is really important is collaboration. So we work very closely with our different kind of ecosystem partner. Maritime is one of those. Aviation, energy, mining, renewable energy, and many others. And there is the kind of the weather is everywhere. But the challenge is are different in each industry. It might be that it's a wind gust, but what you need to know about that, how to act on that, it's differing from industry to industry. So we need to get the closer, and this is what we have done. And here's some of the customers we have been work with. There is many more. But for us, the kind of every customer interaction is a possibility to learn something that what we could do better. And it's surprising that kind of the same problems in different industries, they are not even kind of necessarily using the same language for that. Okay, AxWeather Protect. So it's our severe weather alerting solution. So we want to kind of protect people. We want to protect the assets. We want to minimize downtime and give organizations and the companies time to act. What we do, we have basic alerts in a UI. We have also mobile version, not the application, but web-based. We provide real-time lightning. This was already presented, some of this. We have a lot of these blue dots. I think this was really disastrous even in US, fighting chase, I believe, in some time ago. And we could track the lightnings in real time. Last 60 minutes, we find 99.9% of world lightning events in less than 55 seconds. And we provide the alerts. We can predict that where the storm is going for the next 60 minutes, and that's a unique capability. Here you can see this, which color is it? Yellow, brown. So that's basically showing that how the storm front is moving in 10-minute steps. Hail, this is the latest. This has been out there a little bit 1 year. This is really unique that we could really forecast hailstorms with the great accuracy, and we could prove it. So we used a ridiculous amount of time to validating this, that it really works with all the kind of mathematical rigor for that. Wind gust, we have talked about that. Also, that's there. And this is just kind of overview that how does it look like. There is too many windows open, but it's for illustration purposes that you could see meteograms, you could see the kind of wind direction, you could see temperature, precipitation, and there's a lot of different map layers. And we're also having new things coming up. For example, we will have a precipitation alerts and temperature alerts coming up in the third quarter, so right after the summer when it starts to rain. So that's the plan. Maybe more important is that kind of where we are going with this. So we have these forecast elements, and the idea here is that kind of forecast is not enough. It's a starting point, and so we want to have this forecasting data. Of course, we want to be best there. That's our aspiration. But then what you do with that data? For example, we have developed this kind of a my personal meteorologist concept, which is AI based. It's plugged in all the Vaisala historical weather data, all our forecasts. There's a lot of other enablements there, and you could ask any question about weather. You want to know that kind of, should I go to sailing from Kiavari next Saturday? It will answer you. It will tell you that maybe it kind of looks a little bit bad, that stay at home. Or it might be that, no, Saturday, but go on Sunday, it will be much nicer. It doesn't rain and the sun is shining. And this is a kind of was a starting point that, because the next step is about going to forecast to the impacts. We don't want to kind of say that, okay, situation is bad or when you do operations, but we also want to say that how this impacts your operations. And this is really kind of delicate because it needs to be industry specific. It needs to be impacts for maritime, impacts for aviation, impacts for mining, because these problems are and consequences are different. Big storm for electric transmission line company, grid operator is very different than it's for the hub. And this is a work that will be ongoing for some time so that we really get on this industry specific level. But this personal meteorologist is already there, and it's available, and we will also embed it, for example, for the Protect, so that it's available there. You could see all kind of nice stuff and also ask questions. And then the last one is this post-event impact analysis. That this is, for example, that if there's a lightning storm, the question is that where did it hit? for example, which assets I need to go to check. For example, if your electric transmission line, and you have a 20,000 kilometers. It's not unusual, it's actually very usual that you have 20,000 kilometers, you have a storm there. You want to know that where you send the persons to check these wires. You don't, if they just drive randomly around, it will take time, it will take money, and also in these cases, the kind of speed is essential. You want to fix things before the next storm, because then it will be much, much worse. I don't go detail, but my personal meteorologist, so I could, if somebody wants to see it, I have it in my phone, in my laptop, in my iPad. It's kind of, it's everywhere I go with all the devices, so it's really nice. And we will have this kind of forecast to impacts. We have a first step. We have this kind of impacts view that is providing a view of all the assets and giving the risk evaluation on those. Here is just the 4 days, but there is a kind of here is another view that, for example, you could pick day, week, month, quarter. You could see that your assets are, for example, if you have a harbors there, you could have a Chiavari, you could have a whatever you have listed, and you could have an overview that what is the kind of a risk status here. And then, of course, you will have all other information regarding your assets. You could click and you could see the specific asset, what's the weather forecast. You could see a lot of data about their temperature, wind gust, relative humidity, precipitation, and so on. And some other improvements. So we have this National Weather Service hazard. They are now in the product, so you could actually activate it. And for example, if there's anything in Italy, you will get the warning on that. You could also define what is the kind of severity level that you want to get notification, that you don't need to take on all of these mild ones. Weather reporting, these dashboards I showed you, temperature, precipitation alerts. We have this new RM60 sensor that was published a week ago. We will have that integrated and some reporting. And this is just for this year. Next year will be much crazier. This is kind of this is just that what we are already doing now. Good. Hyperlocal forecasting. This is, as I said in the beginning, that hyperlocal forecasting is meaning that you could have a better forecast. Very simple. So that you could take what there is available, or then you could kind of just have your own. And this is basically the question is that why the traditional weather forecast get it right, don't get it wrong. And one reason is that the observation network is quite scarce. The grids for the parameters might be very large. For example, if you have something like a 10 to 10 kilometers grid in Alps or northern Italy, the result is that there might be kind of huge height differences, and all the differences are average. So you basically might have some kind of hills having a snow, and there might be have areas that are having a sun, and then you just put all of those into one figure, and you say that temperature is 6. It could be from 15 to -5. It depends. Another area is then the kind of is that there's a lot of these kind of microclimates. There are vegetation, land elevation, sea is really big factor, and rivers, and all of these are impacting, and there might be big differences. It might be you are just 1.5 kilometer away from the sea, and you get big differences. We actually have one case with VTT, which is a national research institute in Finland, and we had one that it's basically almost 1.5 kilometer from the synop station, and there is a big differences. So all of this is just kind of that there is a lot of improvement, and especially if you need to know it accurately, then it's kind of worthwhile. What we do, we have those sensors. There is one over there. It's complete end-to-end solution, so we provide sensors, we plug it our best forecasting engine, and we produce the location-specific forecast for exactly for that location. And it's kind of it improves the accuracy hour by hour. So you will see some. I think I have some results, but anyway, it's get more accurate hour by hour. And another big factor, of course, a little bit depending, is that also reduce this number of large errors. because the kind of that's in many of the industries that is crucial. If you might make little errors, but big ones might be what's causing problem. And basically that kind of a few words about how we are making forecast better. So we have this numerical weather prediction models. We have global medium range models. We have these rapid regional models. We have local high resolution mesoscale models, and we run ensembles. Ensembles means that we are actually, for example, ECMWMF is having a lot of ensembles that you have a basically a little bit, how I put it, kind of you have a versions of the forecast, and you run those parallel, and you also adjust that which one you are going to select based on that how the weather is developing. It's basically just like you have a kind of, you go to some kind of a competition and you have a 50 horse running at the same time, and you just kind of select that which one you're going to bet depending which seems to be winning. Then there is this observations. Observations are key. That was brought by Gianfranco, Paul. You cannot do without those. No matter how much AI you add, that you still need to have this ground truth, because that is which fixes our physical and AI models to the reality. It needs this feedback that, hey, how well we went. And of course, all of this, what we do is quality control. For example, we are monitoring constantly the Chiavari station, just seeing that it behaves, because the kind of the problem from our point of view, if the data is crap, then also everything what is produced from that is bad as well. And then from this we produce this trained weather forecast. I don't go so much on this, but basically what we do. So we have these atmocast sensors. We are having this AI machine learning models. We do physical modeling. We do a lot of them. It's the forecasting actually. It's really complex nowadays. And based on this, we produce this hyperlocal forecast. This is example from the New York City. I don't go details, but this was kind of our head. We could improve about 27% to the HER model that was the best at that time. This is maybe more interesting is the Chiavari. This is it's this year. So sorry, I forget the year, but it's the 20th of February to the 20th of March. There's a lot of lines. Black dots are observations that were measured in Chiavari. Red is the public forecast, is the European best available model there, and the blue one is our forecast, Xcast. And then we compare this mean average error here and on the time period, each week by week. So basically already in the first week that when we were there having that on, we have about almost 40% mean average error improvement. 44 next week, 44, then we have a 16, and I don't know how it continues, but if you are interested, we can get you the information. But you get really kind of quick improvements, really fast, and good thing is that it's learning for the first 2 years, because the kind of the more it learns about seasonal patterns, the wiser it comes. It takes all kinds of geographical data about the lakes, the hills, the vegetation, the buildings. There's a lot of geographical information that is used by that. But then when the seasons go, you have a spring, you have a summer, you have autumn, you have a winter. And after 2 years, it's then kind of, it is what it is. Then it's kind of on a level that it's not going to be getting any better, not worse either, but after that the learning is basically done. All the improvements are insignificant. And you notice that 4th week was worst. That happens. This is forecasting. So it kind of, there are some weeks that it's much more difficult to forecast than another week, and it's just kind of it's something that will stay there. Sometimes weather changes very fast, and then the kind of you do your best. Still, we bet the best European forecast. One thing is also if you need a calibrated confidence limits, because in some cases you don't want to get the deterministic value. You don't want to know that temperature is 16 or wind is 8 meters a second, you want to get this, what's the kind of a probability distribution? Because a lot of the systems are currently using AI models, and they love the probabilities because it's much more information. You want to get kind of this kind of a distribution that temperature is within this range, within this probability. But we need to calibrate because the kind of otherwise also these confidence limits are coming from this general forecast, and they are not anymore kind of so accurate. And it causes funny situation that we give a confidence limit and we say that temperature is forecast is, for example, beyond this kind of confidence limit. So also these kind of a basic statistical factors are included in this local hyperlocal forecast. I won't dare. It's fully wireless. It's using the narrowband IoT, and very soon it's also LTE-M. It has a battery. It has solar panels, so it works on its own. It's tested in Finland, so if it kind of managed there, I think it can manage Skiavari, which is winter time much more pleasant. And then we have this new precipitation sensor. I don't go more in details on that, but that's a kind of also will be integrated now after the summer. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Marko Torvinen. I have something to ask you about my next weekend. Please take the stage to Francesco Pasi, researcher of the National Council of Researchers, Consorzio Lamma, who is going to tell us more about marine extreme events in the Mediterranean, advancing in forecasting. Please.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy and proud to be here. And especially I want to thank Gianfranco. We know from about 20 years. I remember when we were in a lighthouse trying to work with the computer, and it was a very long time ago. Many waves have passed, but you are still the best. Thank you very much, Gianfranco. And first of all, just 2 minutes to present my institution. I am a researcher of the National Council of Research, and I work in Consorzio Lamma, which is a consortium between the Tuscany region and the National Council of Research. We are in Florence. What do? We are regional weather services, so we make forecasts, and we make forecasts for the media, and we run numerical models. I am both operational weather forecaster and I run numerical models, so I can see the things from both sides. This presentation will show you some insight from the modeling point of view. I want to start with this very old-fashioned picture. Is about 50 years that it's in the books, but it summarize up what is the problem of forecasting the atmosphere. We span from phenomena that are from centimeters of length and seconds up to hundreds and thousands of kilometers and weeks. So we have to be able to forecast all these things with models or with other stuff that like the colleagues of Vaisala have shown. So let's show you some example. In this situation, we have 15 knots winds, 30 knots winds, and a single gust of 70 knots. So the question is, what is the forecast for this situation? Are we able to take all these things into account with a single forecast? And this is another example. This is a very violent storm that occurred in Corsica during summertime. Normally around the 15th of August in the Med, there is the break of the summer. Come this strong thunderstorm that made a lot of damages. Also some people died. and it was a so violent storm that reached more than 100 kilometers, 100 knots of wind. So you can imagine it's numbers that are quite close to hurricane force, okay, with a single thunderstorm. This is a radar images of the storm, which were moving at more than 100 kilometers of speed, and it hit the Corsica in the morning, so all the vessels were not prepared for this. So this is an images, but it's not going the animation, so I'm going. The next 2 years ago, 2 years after the storm, another storm happened in the Balearic Island, also causing damages. So these phenomena are getting more frequent with the global warming. We have to take into account that more heat means more violent storms. The question is, the numerical model that we are using are able to forecast these phenomena? And the answer is that physically they are able to do this. The equations are there, and they are able, provided that we give them the rate data. But we cannot expect to have a good forecast timely and precise in space. So they are able to do this, but the forecast will not be able to give an advance like 1 day or 2 days in advance for this phenomena. So we are like in a gray zone for this phenomena. We have to take account of other data. For instance, the AI will use other data and will be able to give advance warning with more in advance. This is another example. The model correctly forecasted the storm with more than 200 kilometers per hour of wind. So we are able to do this, but not with the right time. This is another situation. This is a Mediterranean storm. It's called the Baia. Maybe all of you know, you remember this. This is bigger than a thunderstorm, so models are more able to make this forecast in advance, like 1 day or 2 days, but still the effects, the localized effects, are not. We are not able to forecast the effects locally. This is an example of the damages. Also, Gianfranco showed this, and also this. This is the heavy storms of this year, very violent storm, and these other images of the Sicilian and Calabrian coast being really damaged seriously. And the model, this is our model that we run in Lama, was able to forecast this storm with some days in advance, correctly forecasting the wave height, which was more than 10 meters in the Mediterranean. It was a record-breaking wave height. But we could forecast this event, which is bigger than a thunderstorm, much in advance. But how far can we push this limit of forecasting? This is an image showing that from the 2000 to 2020, like 20 years, the accuracy of forecasting is increasing steadily. We started from 5 days of good forecast, and now we are reaching about 7 days. For forecasting big weather systems, not for forecasting this thunderstorm. But how far can we go? If we meet here in 10 years, we will be at 10 days good forecast. No, there is a limit, and a limit of predictability. And I think that we almost reached this limit. And still we are improving the models. This is an example of our last evolution, which is a grid which has a different size depending on the place, so we can try to forecast local phenomena which much more detail. It's a very big evolution in physical numerical modeling. We reach about 200 meters of resolution around the island, so we can see, for instance, in these images that also local phenomena can be reproduced with this high resolution modeling. But some features, very special one, like this is a wave which is bouncing back from the harbor, cannot be forecasted in the models. And I think personally that they will not ever be forecasted in the models. So I conclude with maybe something very closer to the Vaisala presentation. AI revolution is not the future. AI is here. In meteorology is getting in every single part of meteorology. Already the models are running and are giving a better forecast than physical models. And I expect that in the next futures, most of the forecasts will be based on AI. So I conclude with some hints. Extreme events are increasing. Global warming is here. It's not something of the future. It's changing the weather and more, as I said, more heat, more extreme events. I don't know if the global warming will impact our society in which way, but I'm pretty sure that the society is very more fragile than in the past, and we need specialized tailored forecast to take account, because all the business cannot stop. So we cannot stop the business, and if we rely on forecasts that are of large scale, it will be a problem. And the AI revolution is here, and I hope that there is room for improvement in forecasting extreme events. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Francesco Pasi. And now I'll be asking to Lucia De Rosa, marine weather forecaster of Navimeteo, to let us know how to better understand the dynamics and operational impacts of severe convective weather events. Please.
Thank you very much, Leonardo, and good afternoon, everyone. As you say, I'm Lucia De Rosa, and it's an honor for me to be here today and talk to you about one of my many passions, which is severe weather forecasting. I work as a marine weather forecaster here in Navimeteo, and thanks to Mr. Gianfranco and my team of wonderful colleagues, I've had the opportunity to merge my passion of severe weather forecasting with the maritime industry. So it's important to note that what I'm talking to you about right now is more of an academic talk than a case study talk or anything like that. So I hope you enjoy, truly. Okay, so the dynamics and operational impacts of severe convective weather events. The rapid formation and high intensity of these events pose a risk for the maritime industry. That is why it's so important to have strong mitigation strategies. But first of all, let's talk about the dynamics. So, the dynamics, for example, like the downburst, is an area of rapidly sinking air within a thunderstorm that, upon hitting the ground, it spreads out horizontally. It varies in size and duration. That's why we got microburst and macroburst. For example, the microbursts are less than 4 kilometers in diameter, and they last 3 to 5 minutes, whereas the macrobursts, greater than 4 kilometers in diameter, last 5 to 30 minutes. Now, the outflow boundary is the hour rush of air from that downburst, whereas the gust front is the leading edge of that outflow boundary. They vary. For example, they are characterized by an abrupt wind speed increase, a sudden wind direction change, and a temperature drop. Now, what are the periods of peak intensity of these events? Sorry, I misput in the slide where you can see the elements. There you go. But now, the periods of peak intensity of these events is that they usually form in an environment of strong atmospheric instability. With that being said, during the day, that will be after the peak diurnal heating cycle. So that will be like late afternoon and early evening. On the other side, on the seasonal level, that will be during the late spring and summer months, when the solar heating is strongest and the moisture content is highest. Now, for what are the type of storms that conform these events? So we get the single cell storm, the multi-cell storm, the supercell one, and the squall lines. So the single cell ones are the less organized and rapidly forming storm. They usually form in an environment with weak vertical wind shear, and they usually produce heavy rain and just localized wind gusts. On the other side, multi-cell storm are more organized than the previous one, and they usually produce moderate to large hail with tornadoes. There are clusters of several storms forming one after the other in different stages of their life cycle. Now, on the other hand, the supercell storm is the most severe kind of storm. They usually last longer and travel hundreds of kilometers. With that being said, they are characterized by a consistently rotating updraft. They produce strong tornadoes, really, really strong wind gusts, damaging wind gusts actually, and very large hail. The squall lines on the other side, they're 100 of storms, 100 kilometers long, that produce widespread damaging winds. It is important to know that the type and severity of these storms depend on the atmospheric forcing mechanism. That being said, we can say that, for example, a cold front produces a squall line, whereas isolated heating or just orographic lifting produce like a single cell, multi-cell storms. Now, what are some of the forecasting and nowcasting techniques in order to predict this storm? So, it's important to know that forecasting is the long-range planning, whereas nowcasting is an immediate warning. With that being said, forecasting is the actual analysis of the long-range synoptic weather patterns, taking in consideration numerical weather model predictions, which are the computational simulations of the physics and atmospheric dynamics, so we can know this in advance. For example, wind convergence, moisture convergence, or wind shear, and some that kind of potential triggering mechanisms for an outbreak. Now, nowcasting, on the other hand, takes in consideration the actual observations, so you can predict, you can sort of like do a short-term prediction of rapidly forming storm or already existing storm. So taking in consideration soundings, for example, which are the vertical profiles of wind temperature and humidity taken by weather balloons. You can know, thanks to them, convective available potential energy, lift and condensation level, and other thunderstorm indices. We also use, when available, the Doppler radar, which, thanks to them, you can see the storm motion and advancement of the same. Now, okay. And finally, let's talk about the operational impacts of these severe convective weather events. So they heavily impact on port operations and coastal navigation. In regards to port operations, they impact heavily on the vessel handling, cargo operations, as well as personal safety. For example, in confined waterways, docks, or bridges, an abrupt lateral force can lead to collisions, breaking mooring lines, or just dragging anchor. That's why it's so important for pilots and bridge teams to be prepared to start engines and maintain position. Now, the vessel stability, cargo operations. So, for example, you have like crane caps and other kind of, for example, high-reach equipment that can be impacted by strong winds. So they can either drop the loads or just suffer infrastructural damage. That is why it's so important to suspend all lifting operations when a gust front is first sighted. Now, in regards to the personal safety, it's important to know that workers on elevated platforms or exposed areas on the dock can suffer, are also vulnerable because of flying debris or strong winds. With that being said, it's paramount to have contingency plans that include, for example, like an evacuation plan, stuff like that. Now, in regards to coastal navigation, the sea state, the visibility, the vessel stability, and a safe anchor are also compromised. For example, late hail or rain can reduce the visibility. That is why it's so important in those cases to reduce the speed and look for a safe harbor when possible. Now, steep confused seas also compromise the safe navigation. And because of that, it is important that aside from reducing speed, to look in order to change a vessel course in order to lower at best the vessel stress. The vessel stability is also compromised, and that is why it's so important for a careful load planning, so you can lower the center of gravity, and of course avoid a beam seas exposure. Now, in regards to the safe anchor, it is important to know that you need to have continuous anchor watches and contingency plans in case that you need to look for a safe harbor. Now, I'm giving the word to my colleague Francesca, who's going to talk to you about the lightning detection system, which is a tool that we use on a daily basis in order to actually look for the potential triggering mechanisms for an outbreak. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucia De Rosa. And as said, there is a lot of technology and innovation behind what is going next about this industry. So please, Francesco Rocco, tech team of Navimeteo, let's tell us what is going on.
Hello, everyone. I want to start. Thank you all to be inviting me here to have the opportunity to give you a speech about our last development, that is our last product, the Navimeteo lightning detection system. I would like to start giving you a brief background of the system itself and how it started. The system is started in 2021 with the goal to give to TMT terminal a better service. With this goal, we developed this system, thanks also to Progetto Automazione that help us support us with development. There we go. So we developed this system because, as Ade was saying, thunderstorms nowadays are becoming more unpredictable, and the risk that they are generating really strong gusts of winds is becoming really, really heavy. So to mitigate that risk, we came up with the idea of tracing out this thunderstorm and understanding how they are going to move and what they are going to do. So from 2021, as I was saying, we have tried different services, different operational services, but all of them usually use a steady point as an asset. So we used it and we tried to use it with ports as an example, but they weren't really reliable for us because much of the time we were receiving alerts also if the ship wasn't anymore in the port. So having a lot of alerts, we could have missed also the important one, the ones that we wanted to see. So we came up with an idea to develop our own system that is following the vessel all over the world with the IES satellite systems. The point of this system works, as I was saying, with the IES satellite system on board for yachts and cruise ships as well, and with the lightning detection, with the lightning data that Vaisala provides us with a really precise data, we can now have warnings that are really helpful, that help us mitigate the risk of this thunderstorm that are not that much predictable. Just to give you an understanding of how our system works, as I was saying, you use IS tracking, so we trace the vessels and the ships all over the world. in real time, so we don't have any delays on that. We have generated and created 3 different geofences around the ship itself. We have a lightning feed with precision from Vaisala itself. And then the system looks at the logics we have created for the geofences. And then, if it has, it sends out emails, alerts. We have created 3 geofences because we didn't want too many alerts going off. As I was saying, having too much is going not to be much reliable. So we have created different logics as well. We have the 50-kilometer geofence, a 25-kilometer geofence, and a 5-kilometer geofence. And the 50-kilometer geofence, because it's really far from the ship itself, we wanted to be more precise and more secure that the warning was really, really helpful and something was really going on. So as an example, we implemented a logic that if not 5 or more strikes have generated in this geofence in the last 15 minutes, we didn't receive any alert itself. In our system, thanks to Vaisala data, we can also predict where the storm is actually going. So in this way, we can also help being more secure and be more safe sailing or in port. Now, the system itself has as an index the ship and is giving warnings to them as well. We have warnings for the operational department, the forecasters, and with the dynamic geofence and the context aware of the thresholds, we have automated alerts, but also the expertise of our forecasters. The alert will always give you information that are useful. They have a color, so let's say yellow, orange, red, so the customer can really fast understand how big of a deal it's the thunderstorm and the risk that is going through. It gives us how much time is passed from the thunderstorm, so we can track how many warnings and what is happening in real time for that ship itself. And to finish, as I want to say that, as always, as Navimeteo, we don't just serve with systems, but we also have the expertise of our forecasters that with the system can help you understand and making safe decision as well. To end, I will like to thank also MCC and Paul that supported us and gave us in the last years really reliable feedbacks to make this product the way it is nowadays. And we will be able to improve in the few months, hopefully, and give you a better and better system to give you a more safe sail in the seas all over the world. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And if there is a place with severe weather condition, is surely the Adriatic Sea. And so to ask more about what is the Bora as impact on the port and so the sailing and not just the Bora. So we'll be asking to Matteo Sandrin, Port Operations and Safety, who is now linking right now from TMT Terminal of Trieste.
Yes, hello, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I hope
Hello,
you
Matteo.
could hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, perfectly.
Very nice. Unfortunately, I'm very sad, very disappointed. I can attend directly this event, not in presence, just in remote mode. Anyhow, I used to say that it's a great pleasure to me to be here and to take part. First of all, I would like to thanks to all the Navimeteo staff and crew, and of course Gianfranco Meggiurin for the invitation. So my name is Matteo Sandrin. I'm a licensed captain and a former merchant marine officer. Since 2017, I've been working in a container terminal here in Trieste. I hope you could see also the my contribution, the video. Yeah, okay. So Trieste, the northeast part of the Adriatic Sea. You have also so just an idea about the layout of our container. We could say that we are a mid-size container, and of course, when we have to deal with cranes higher than 100 meters, or dealing with a container with 30 or more tons and 30 square meters, of course, we need to take in consideration the impact of the wind force. Taking this in consideration, in Trieste, we got two different effects, two different methods we need to forecast and to be monitored by our friends in Navimeteo. The first one is well known, is the wind of Bora, as you mentioned before. Trieste is well known around the world. Is also the name of this city is associated to the wind of Bora. Is the city of Bora, Katabatic Sea, is well predictable, and how it affect our operation. Well, we have to consider that the Bora phenomenon could last from 12 hours up to 5, even 6 days for an entire weeks. And with this consideration, even if we know in advance, we can have a better planning of our schedules of the maneuvering, of entrance and exit of the vessel. And at the same time, we also can manage the shift of the personnel involved in cargo operation. Consider that in Trieste Container Terminal, due to our safety protocol, up to 75 kilometers per hour, wind force up to 75 kilometers per hour, we are forced to reduce or to interdict some of our some part of our yard operative yard. Up to 90 kilometers per hour, it's no longer possible to operate cranes, and we need to close to stop cargo operation. So, given to the layout of the piers in Trieste Container in Trieste, the Bora do not represent a major safety issue for the mooring vessel, but knowing in advance, as I said before, the duration and the intensity of the wind events, we can obtain a better planification of our cargo operation that will result, of course, in a cost saving. And the Bora, as I said before, the Bora usually blows during the cold season, normally from October till March, and got a sort of mid-term effect. At the same time, another kind of phenomenon, weather phenomenon, quite recent, is what we call here in Istrian dialect, we call the neverin. The neverin is what we can translate directly as a summer storm, a heavy summer storm. In the last years, will developed in real supercell. I want to ask, of course, I want to excuse myself in front of all the meteorologists and the scientists present in the room, because I'm a captain, so I'm coming from another part of the of experience, and maybe I use the wrong terms. But anyhow, the problem is this kind of a phenomenon will come from west, from the Po Valley, from the Gulf of Grado, from the other side of the Gulf, and will move very, very quickly, hitting the terminal. And as I told you before, due to the building, due to the layup of our berth, the incoming of this severe thunderstorm from the west could represent real danger for the mooring vessel, for the vessel moored on the pier, with the effect of sudden we could call unmooring. The reason and the starting of the partnership with Navimeteo start at the end of an event that happens on 2021, just 5 years ago. I will take just some picture coming from our CCTV system, and if you can give a look, I also write down the exact 5 p.m., a quarter past 5 p.m. This is the north side of the pier. Pier number 7 is the pier of Trieste Marine Terminal. And after just 10 seconds from one side to the other one, with very few meters from the point of view, the picture, you can see the difference between the weather condition. I said again, it's just 10 seconds later. After 4 minutes from the first picture, you can see that even in this portion of the basin, the weather condition really is getting worse. And at the same time, the formation of the clouds and also the wind, the intensity of the wind happens clearly on the other picture. Then so it's after 5 minutes. Okay, only after 5 minutes from the first image, the weather condition appears to have changed drastically. And I told you, this is the reason why we need to be monitored and to receive also alert calls from the control room, in this case from Navimeteo, in order to allow the crane operator to coming down from the crane, to allow the superintendent and the yard manager to put the crane in a safe position on the brake. Fortunately, it is not the end. You can see the same vessel that you saw on the second picture. Now you can see that it's already broke the line. The bow line was already broken, and you got just a few meters from the pier. Consider that we got at that moment we still got some of the stevedores, so the shore gangs working on the vessel. And in this situation, of course, was impossible to ask them to disembark from the vessel. And again, just less than 10 minutes from the first picture, you can realize how quickly the weather condition getting worse, and the broken line and the position of the vessel. Of course, the main things always remain in all kind of economical operation. Of course, also in the port operation, the main items, the main focus will stay on the safety of the human being. But in this case, we also have to consideration the fact that moving the vessel represent a serious risk of endanger the crane. A crane that remain affected by this kind of damage, of course, remain out of service for months. I will ask to our director if you want to share just a few seconds of the video I share with Navimeteo, in order to give you a very, very short idea. Now, in this case, consider that the speed of the video has been doubled, but if you give in a look on the watch, on the timer, above on the left corner, you have a very, very immediate, short idea again in how quickly the situation developed. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, okay, the quality is not so high coming from but consider that also at the same time, also the wind condition make the video comes quite unstable. And in conclusion, just reaffirming what I said before, so the principle that in any economic activity, the primary objective must always remain the safety of workers. I would like to emphasize that whether we consider the first case, so the BORA and its effect on the short to medium term operation, on the second case, with the sudden and very intense downburst lasting only a few minutes and the impact on the safety, the result of the forecasting and such event will always be a better planning of activities, an improved management of available resources, and ultimately tangible economic saving. Again, thanks all of you for the attention, and again, thanks to Navimeteo and to Gianfranco for the invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's very, very impressive, actually. So, about this video especially, we must consider that having good data and having good forecasts is so important when you are onshore and more when you are on board. So please, Laura Pinasco, Captain Laura Pinasco, let's show us how much is important to have an accurate forecasting and nowcasting, please.
Okay, hello. Good evening to everybody. Thanks to Gianfranco and Navimeteo for the last 15-year friendship. I would like to share the perspective from the field of my entire working life has been taking place, the cargo vessel where the innovation is not faster like for cruise sector or yachting, but in any case, it's hard to believe to myself that already been 30 years in my first time on board the ship. I was a cadet, and on board there was still a radio operator that downloading directly the weather forecast and gave only to captain. And then we use something that now is considered like prehistoric instrument, the Meteofax. We get some evaluable charts with low pressure, we plot, and we hand over to the next watch also the situation. And also the pilot charts were very, very important and was a routine of the navigation officer to keep update for the current month and the current place. And it's been only 30 years, it's still much longer. Because in the last 2 decades, the evolution of meteorological instrument in the shipping has been significant, aligned with the advancement of satellite communication, because this is also very important for the vessel. By 2024, it was established that 4 days forecast today is as accurate as a 1-day forecast 30 years ago. And as a result, now the use of software and advisor is much more widely used. It becomes essential and also impact the commercial aspect, because, for example, many charter parties, when fixing voyage of vessel, are requesting the router advisor. And I have to say, my experience that in my time, the Great Circle rumble in Atlantic was not so common, especially winter time. Why now? Thanks to the advisor, we crossing the ocean in the northern parts because the weather forecasts are much reliable. Cargo ship never stop. It's not like a cruise that looking for good weather. Navigate North Pacific, North Atlantic during winter time, sail across Indian Ocean during the monsoon time. Commercial pressure is very high in all shipping sector, and everybody is aware. And but vessel continues to operate regardless the weather condition. The crew is well aware that encountering bad weather is often an avoidable reality of their profession. I personally sailing in 8,000 deadweight vessel, LPG Ocean, and 65,000 during winter time. Damage from bad weather, we know, everybody know. I mean, I just make, for example, what is damage for a ro-ro vessel. The main concern is the cargo shift on the deck, and there can be vehicles or trailers and can make quite big damage to the structure, but also heavy lift with stability issue, or even LNG carriers due to the control of boil off on the cargo tanks during bad weather that is challenging them. In my experience, one of the most impact weather condition was the search and rescue vessel in my 1 year as a master in NGO vessel, where the weather determinate the start of the mission, determinate the limit of the rescue for a shipwrecker, and also the dealing with the authority when they assign the port of safe. And unfortunately, there are some even today, some point of no return when a meteorological event coincide with other contributing factor, often related to ship vulnerability, and made disaster occur. Everybody remember motor yacht Vaisala that was just sunk, capsized 300 meters from coast, and the latest one, Devon Bay, it was a bulk carrier on January 2026. The most unknown disaster of the NEF that sank 12 miles off of Lebanon with where died 40 persons on board. And Erika also have a big resonance in the media as well, because it was an environmental issue in the Bay of Biscay. In any case, all four have the last cause, the weather condition. And another important consideration is the crew safety, because the crew in the cargo vessel is subject to significant fatigue, stress, and risk. Sleep deprivation for a week during wintertime transit ocean is normal, I say. And I just take these statistics, these cases from GARD, that is a marine insurance company, and reported 6 crew-related accidents during bad weather only in winter between 2021 and 2023. The accident resulted in 9 fatalities and 6 injuries. The vessel, also not so small as you can expect it, but from 30,000 deadweight until 180,000 deadweight, and it was very rare to see, but not only in the forecastle, but also on the poop deck where crew swept out due to and lost overboard. I can bring my experience because as many of my colleagues, unfortunately also in my vessel happened one serious injury on board on Ocean Drover in Indian Ocean during the monsoon time on 2029, when we have a fitter on board was crushed under some heaving aeroplanes, and because lashing had come loose during bad weather. On board the cargo vessel, there is no doctors, and we disembarked the injured person only after 2.5 days, thanks to the coordinator of EMSA, Australian, that divert us to the Cocos Island, that is a remote archipelago in the Indian Ocean, and owner organized a military flight to hospitalize the injured person. But in any case, this experience reminds us the challenger persists, new challengers, and also the emerge. This includes the naval gigantism. This is not only for cruise, but it's also for a container, where there is a quite serious problem for the big vessel, large container with loss of container at sea due to container stack collapse, and the major cause is the bad weather. And container lost at sea are 100 and until 1,000 every year. And there is also a lot of study to reduce the container lost at sea. At the same time, unfortunately, also geopolitical and environmental factor can influence how we respond to weather condition in the cargo vessel. Because first, the wise decision from owner to avoid the Red Sea and Suez Canal, rerouting the vessel to Cape of Good Hope, that, as everybody knows, is a very inclement weather during winter, but I can say also with reputable high wave in the summertime as well. And additionally of increased discomfort, expense, longer navigation days, making significant concern of insurance statistic. Another challenger is the establishment of emission control area and sulfur emission control area. This is the most discomfort for the cargo vessel is due to the commercial strategy to wait and see. This area are established by IMO and inside to reduce the air pollution. Inside of this area, only light fuel or alternative fuel are allowed. So this means that cargo vessel that may have to enter in such area, waiting because of congestion in port or because just waiting to fix voyage, have to remain in the ocean, drifting, or sometimes out of, in the western part of Gibraltar, they can also drop anchor and in very exposed oceanic anchorage. And this is also, it's not so fun for the crew on board, this anchoring. And I just want to complete with the word of true seaman, that was Herman Melville from Moby Dick. The most reliable and useful courage was that which arises from the fair estimation of the encountered peril, but that an utterly fearless man is a more dangerous comrade than a coward. Done.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain. Also because it was very, very, very interesting. And I know that you were afraid of this public speaking, but that's been great, actually. So, my compliments. So, before closing with the president of Navimeteo, Matteo Venoso, I just want to ask you if you have some questions to the speakers, or if you want to share some thoughts or something, or whatever. I want to thank again our remote audience who is following us online. And so, please, Matteo Venoso, let's take the stage.
Maybe there are some questions.
Yeah, but I think not. So don't be shy.
This one maybe. Okay, it's been a long afternoon, but I think a fruitful one, and it's been really interesting from my perspective, because when I was a kid, my dream, when someone was asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a doctor, like your father? And I would say, no, I want to be a tornado chaser. Because, because when I was a kid, I was totally amazed by the film Twister, and yesterday, during the lunch, and today, being here and listening to all these weather changes and the difficulties that people working on the sea are facing on a daily basis, is connecting myself with myself as a kid. So, but during all the speech, I remember clearly one moment that me and Gianfranco, after a long 2-hour call session in order to organize this event, we said, okay, let's grab a coffee. And we sat in the port looking at the sea, and I say, Gianfranco, I never asked you why you started Navimeteo. And and he said something that I've seen today on the speech. He said that 30 years ago, 30 years ago, when he was sailing, he understood that when you are sailing, you're alone, and the risk of the weather was difficult to mitigate. And he said that we needed to have a technology in filling this gap. It's not possible to have a radio message every 2 hours. We needed to enter in that gap. And today I heard about technology in assistance. I heard about the safety compared to the past. I heard about a team from Navimeteo that was able to be close to the captains in the most difficult times. I understood that the vision of Gianfranco 30 years ago was right, as was right to have this event that in this little niche is so big. And I'm so proud to have helped you to bring this alive. I'm really grateful to have everybody here, even if there are no questions, but I understood that the people here are technical, and so they understood what we were saying. And my last thought is to the Navimeteo team. We worked hard in the last 2 months to make this happen. I would like to take, if you want, just 10 seconds to have everybody here face, and Gianfranco, of course, also you, with your team. Don't be shy, at least. Okay. And Mr. Augusto, if you would like to have a small...
No, nothing. I just want to thank everybody for attending this event. As a group, we are very happy, I have to say, on behalf of my family, on behalf of our board of directors, that we are very, very happy to join with Gianfranco. I think it's a big adventure, but we like challenges, and therefore we are sure that this company will grow, and with our help, with our connection, and I have to congratulate everybody, all the staff of Navimeteo for the speeches, which were very professional and very interesting. I'm not an expert in weather forecasts, but it was very interesting for me to understand a little bit more. So I'm happy to go out of this room with more knowledge. You know, in our group we have many business, we are very diversified, but I like very much to go to each single company and to understand what they do, how they do, and just to give an example, last week I was in Piombino because we are buying a steel company, steel factories, and I was so fascinated because I was like a child in this factory, and I saw this piece of steel going up and down, and I said, this is fantastic. I mean, you know, so I like this experience. I'm an old man, but I mean, I like to hear, I like to see, and I like to understand what you are doing, because this is the concept of a family. I mean, of Cosrich family, and we want to grow, we want to do business, we want to invest, and we want to be better than before. Especially, we want to give a good service to our clients. It's very important. And I think that with these people, you all will be very happy.
And the one connected through the office, because they are supporting.
Okay, sorry, I also the office. I mean, also I forgot. So thank you very much for attending, and.
Thank you, everybody. Leonardo. Yes, we are at the end. Now we invite you. It's my turn to invite you upstairs in this bridge, like in a vessel, and to stay together for a short moment for the aperitif, staying together, and we have time to speak, enjoy, and thank you, everybody here, everybody from remote nation that they connected. Thank you, everybody, for your trust. It was a special moment for everybody. Thank you very much.
We can have a toast over. Yeah, exactly. Go.